Why, hello there YouTube, pilot coming to you from Adelaide, South Australia. So this is a bit of a test run for the camera and the mic setup. I've just had it all hooked up, made a ghetto wind protection for the microphone, and set it all up on my helmet, so I'm not sure what the sound will be like, what the video will be like. Well, video most or not has been sorted. But Adelaide's having one of those days where there's 4 seasons in one day. It's been nice and sunny for the last couple of hours. Gave my bike a bit of a rinse, and it seems to be going south right now. But anyways, we'll go for a quick ride, see if anything works out of it. So, pilot, what are you riding, you say? I'm riding a Ducati Monster 659. It's a LAMS, or otherwise known as learner approved version. I started my motorcycling on a 250 Ninja, 2008 250 Ninja. It was a beautiful bike to start on, but I do have to say, personally, I found it very quick to outgrow. I don't know if that's the right way to put the sentence, but basically what I'm trying to say is I outgrew it very quickly. The lack of power sort of got to me, and yeah, I guess I've decided to step it up. Was sort of in a position to do so, was buying a bigger bike, upgraded to this bike and been more than happy with it. This is something that will get you not just through your L's very comfortably, very satisfactory. It's a bike that you can have after your L's. So this come restricted. They've got a actual physical restrictor on a throttle, so you can't actually open it up fully. And once you obviously get off your L's, unless you want to go for a even faster bike, you can take off the restrictor. Basically allows you to full throttle it. And according to what I've read online about this, it actually gives a hefty 20 kilowatts of power. So it is definitely a major increase in power that happens once you're unrestricted. And I reckon that's bound to keep you happy for a long time to come. So yeah, if you ask a question, so pilot, are you recommending us to start on a 650 bike over 250? My answer will be simple. It's basically, ask yourself a question. If you have had a car, and first of all, do you drive manual? Do you know how to drive a manual car? And when you learned to drive a manual car, how quickly did you get it? How quickly did you get good at it? So if you were the type of person who actually finds themselves comfortable with the machinery of this sort, so basically if you found yourself picking up a manual car, working the clutch and all that kind of thing really quickly, it may be a good idea for you to start on a 650. Because I think no matter what bike you start on, if you start on the 250, what I mean is you will probably outgrow it, regardless of what your level is. You will outgrow it, and you will outgrow it within a year most likely. And the problem with that comes with that is that then in a year you have to sell the 250 bike, and you have to look for a new bike. And that comes with a bit of a trouble. When I bought this motorcycle, I haven't actually sold my 250 first. I just bought this and then was selling my 250. And it took a hefty amount of time. It took about 2 months to sell it. And even when I finally sold it, when I finally sold it, it was literally to pretty much the first inquiry that I've had about it. So there was not too much interest in a 250 Ninja, at least, and don't you pull out. In a 250 Ninja motorcycle, at least obviously I am talking about Adelaide. Adelaide has a fairly small market for everything, being a sort of smaller city, and it doesn't seem like we've got too much of a popularity. Don't you think? Seriously, some drivers creep me out big time. So yeah, there's not too much of a market for motorcycles in Adelaide, and it's crazy. It absolutely boggles me as to how that is, because we really have a motorcycle season all year long, because even during the winter, it is winter right now in Adelaide if you are watching from overseas, and even though the winter is colder and it's got rains and things like that, you can comfortably ride throughout the whole winter, providing you get the right gear, providing you don't mind a bit of discomfort whilst you're riding. You will be absolutely fine. That's a nice bike. That's a really nice bike. So yeah, providing that you are ready for the motorcycling all year long, you don't mind a bit of cold, a bit of wet, you are absolutely fine to ride the bike all year long. And a motorcycle is insanely good. I mean, petrol is nothing. In Adelaide, if you are working in a city, the parking is free. In Australia, you seem to be paying for everything, and having a free parking in a city is a big thing, because parking is darn expensive. If you work in a city and you drive a car, half of your paycheck will be going towards the parking fees. On a motorcycle, that's not a problem. You got plenty of motorcycle parking in the city. So yeah, and in Adelaide, you're pretty much guaranteed a motorcycle parking spot in the city. Too easy. About a year ago, when I did get a motorbike, this was a major decision maker for me. So I don't actually own a car. Motorcycle is my only transport. I ride all year long, no matter what the weather is, unless it's literally bucketing down to the point where it is dangerous. I will ride a motorbike everywhere. For those occasional times, my partner will drop me off where I need to be. Yeah, I do want to apologize up front. I will be jumping from topic to topic, because this is my first attempt, and I just sort of say whatever my mind takes me, and sometimes I'll backtrack on a certain point and things like that. So when choosing the first bike, coming back to our discussion whether you should go for a 650 or you should just go for a smaller bike. On a smaller bike, you will be safer learning. Smaller bikes are lighter, smaller bikes don't have a capacity to get you in trouble if you do something wrong, but I bet you've heard that from other vloggers before. And they're absolutely correct. There's nothing else to say about it. Those learner bikes, the ones that used to be considered learner. You know, now they sort of flexed it up a bit with allowing 650s and a bit of more powered bikes. They had a good point of forcing you to start on a 250 because it is truly a very forgiving bike. One thing I cannot fault my Ninja 250 for is being forgiven. It was virtually impossible to stall. You could fucking try your hardest to stall it, and you would literally need to try to succeed. It will choke, it will shake minorly, in no way an intimidating way, whilst it's stalling, whilst it's on the way to stall, and then with a tiniest adjustment of giving it a bit of a throttle, it'll catch on and it'll take you where you need it to go. On the downside of a safety of a 250 bikes or 300 bikes, then this sort of learner-based bikes, I could say the biggest minus of that Ninja that I owned was the stock tires. They came with Dunlop something, and it was an absolutely stupidly bad tire. It was rock hard. It did not make you feel comfortable leaning into the corners or anything like that. It just, it felt terrible. It felt sketchy, and being my first bike, obviously I didn't know any better, and I made do with it. I've learned, I've evolved my skills with that tire. But jumping onto this bike stock standard from the factory comes with Pirelli Angel tires, and boy, you could feel a massive difference of how the bike feels. You feel so much more comfortable leaning the bike to virtually packs where the packs are, and not feeling like it's gonna go from under you. And even more so, where this same difference came in even further safety wise was rainy days. On that 250 Ninja with the tires that it had on, it was absolutely mortifying to go in the rain and to turn, mostly to turn. You know, once you go on straight ahead, it's all fine. Cool bananas, you know. But once you start turning, it was mortifying. At every single moment, you felt like the bike's just gonna come from under you. Not on these tires. Once again, I'm not talking about the motorcycle, it's the tires I'm talking about right now. But when you also come down to it, a 250 Ninja is $1.5 tons cheaper than what this bike is, or a lot of other 650s, so the price factor is definitely going to play a role for everyone. You know, you can buy a 250 bike for $3,500 in a good condition in Adelaide, and something like this will go for $9,000 in the very least. And once again, this is where it comes to the fact whether you're gonna be are you gonna be happy with this machine past when you get your full license. So are you gonna be happy with unrestricting it and continuing riding it, or are you looking at going on a 600, you know, once again Ninja 636, or you gonna wanna get a 600 RR Honda, or you wanna get a leader bike? So if that's the case, obviously you're not really saving yourself from any trouble with having to sell the learner approved bike. And for the money, for like I paid, and it was a great deal, I paid $9,000 for this motorcycle, and it only had $1,500 done on it, so it was just after the break-in, and the guy was building himself a cafe racer of some sort, and he was clearly keen to get rid of this motorcycle. and I guess that's the reason why he sold it so cheap, because brand new, these motorcycles, they go for I was at Ducati doing some work on the bike just recently, $13,999, so almost $14,000 virtually, and that's a hefty amount of money. Not to say that this motorcycle is the cheapest, it is quite contrary, it is the most expensive learner approved motorcycles. I think it actually goes hand in hand with the Triumph Street Triple 600, which is the new Triumph they released, which is learner approved. Beautiful bikes. I haven't actually ridden one, but I've seen them ride around, I've seen videos, and I think if I had to redo my purchase, I would have gone for that one, but they also, I believe, only got released not that long ago, so you may have a bit of a harder time finding a used one to buy. You overpay when you buy a brand new bike, and overpay in the sense that you buy a machine that hasn't been ridden by anyone before, and you know that bike's condition will be exactly as you've kept it. You're not going to have any nasty surprises. So for example, just to elaborate on that, this motorcycle, the engine braking's been done by someone else, but there is no way for me to know whether the engine braking has been done correctly. And correct way is, I believe, not to take it over 6,000 RPM for the first 1,000 kilometers, or whether it's been done what's otherwise known as a hard braking, when you ride it like you normally would. So yeah, with the brand new motorcycle, you are getting the confidence of the bike being treated exactly how you want the bike to be treated, and that's a plus, but you definitely pay much more for it. I believe vehicle of any type loses around 20 or 30, to be honest, pulling the number out of my ass, but quite a hefty amount of its value as soon as it leaves the dealership. So we just to fill you in, we're just going to a semaphore beach quickly, because I reckon I'll need to make a way back home quite soon. Have checked the weather forecast, and it was promising to start raining at around 4, and it sure as hell seemed to be going that way. Now, coming back to a bike to start on, one thing I will definitely hands down, one of the most important things that I would suggest is getting a motorcycle if you can. Obviously, everyone's position of buying a motorbike and what kind of motorbike they can buy is different, and if you can't, you can't. But it is definitely the best feature that I've come to love with getting this motorcycle is ABS. This one's got an ABS, and it's saved my bum so many times. I had to put a full hand in wet because a car pulled out on me, and the ABS just made me feel like I was in dry weather on a dry tarmac, because it just did the job. It stopped me as quick as possible, and quicker than I would ever have been able to stop on a bike without an ABS, because you'd be constantly worried that you're gonna lock up, and locking up in wet is pretty much meaning coming down. The amount of times on my Ninja 250 that I fishtailed from pressing the rear brake too much is borderline uncountable. On this bike, or for that matter on any ABS equipped bike, it's just not gonna happen. It's one less thing to worry about. You've got a confidence of being able to stop when you need to, And yeah, under normal circumstances you usually can stop without ABS, it's all fine, you know, it's not gonna be the end of the world. It's the more of a unexpected situations that you've got to worry about, is when you go into that oh shit moment and you grab the handful and you realize that you're in trouble. So just gonna do a bit of a walk around for you guys. So once again, this is a 2012 Ducati Monster, learner approved. I will probably do a bit of a full review on it for you. If you are interested, put the like on, subscribe to the channel so I know there's somebody who's actually gonna watch it, and I'll definitely do that for you. I'll pick a nice weather day, I'll take it to the hills, I'll do a bit of a hill run for you, so you can see what it goes like, because obviously in the city not too much opportunity to actually open it up or anything of that sort. But yeah, over and out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe over there. Thank you, bye.